Welcome to the Omaha Magazine podcast. It's about all of us, where we highlight Omaha business and community leaders, arts and culture, and where to dine and play. I'm Gil Cohen, Executive Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Omaha Magazine. Creighton University is a pillar of education nationwide and a hallmark of downtown Omaha. In this episode, we're joined by Creighton President Father Daniel Hendrickson to talk about the future of the university and their positive impact on the urban core. Welcome back to the Omaha Magazine podcast. It's about all of us. Very honored and privileged today to have Father Daniel Hendrickson, the president of Creighton University, on our podcast this morning or this afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching it. And welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much for the invitation to be here. It's great to join you and have some conversation about Creighton University and other things about the great city and the state.
Yeah. So you started in 2015, so you're going to go on your 10th year with the university, 25th president of the university. So that's some lineage there in those 25 years. And it seems like some of the presidents have been there for a short period of time. Some have been there longer. You're kind of in the middle there. What do you think is your tenure?
I stand on some broad shoulders of great legacy and great leadership. I think of Father Morrison. I know my three predecessors well. Father Morrison, I think 19 years, maybe
19 or 20 years,
into 20.
Close, yeah.
Father Schlegel came in for 10 or 11. Yeah. Father Lannon, 3 or 4. I'm at 10.
All right.
You know, I'd like to say there's another 10 or maybe another 10 after that. When I got here, I started as a young president. Right. I'd like to think I'm still young.
I was going to ask you that, too. It looked like, going back and doing some research, it looks like you were probably, if not one of, but maybe the youngest president ever to take over that role at Creighton.
Certainly pretty young. I think Morrison came at a young age as well. But I was the youngest president in the Jesuit network at the time. There were 28 of us as president. Now there's 27 Jesuit schools in the United States. Wow. But I enjoyed, that for just a couple of years, and somebody came in younger than me. I came at 44, and I remember a lot of folks in the community excited about that prospect and saying you got a long runway to accomplish a lot. And in some ways, at year number 10, I feel like we're just getting started.
Wow.
And even the last 5 years have been very productive. I'm excited to talk about some of those projects, but we'll see what's in the cards.
Yeah.
The board hires and fires the president. So board members, if you're listening, I'm very happy. I'm very engaged. I've got a lot of vision.
And obviously, you want to stick around for a while.
That's right.
You're from Nebraska, right?
It's great
Fremont.
to be back home, too. You're right.
Yeah.
I left here in 1989 to go to college and was on the move for many years in different kinds of programs or work experiences. A lot of global exposure at that time as well with the Jesuits. I had a little stint back here in Omaha beginning in the year 2000 for 3 years teaching in the Department of Philosophy at Creighton. Tremendous opportunity and experience in my life is working with the young students of Creighton University and reading through important texts about questions of our own lives and the world around us. So it's nice to be back, years later to come back in 2015.
So let's segue a little bit to the hiring process. Is that something where it's open, or did somebody call you and say, hey, Father?
Correct, So
we got this job open.
Let me think through that a minute. That's 10 years ago. I've been in Jesuit higher education for many years in different capacities, and including at the level of board service. There's a trustee at Boston College, at Xavier University, and then I was a trustee back in 2013 at Creighton University. I had been working at that time at Marquette with the president of that institution. So I was a trustee at the time that Creighton University was going to go through a presidential transition, and so there was some exposure to me, some understanding of my experience, what I could offer to the university. So the university called and said, your name is referenced numerous times as we're in a transition process.
You're like, yes.
You want to step in. So my next move is to call the superior, the Jesuit community that we work with and say, hey, I got the call. I'm interested. What do you think? And he said, go for it.
Cool.
So it was a confidential process. Most high-level searches at this point in higher education tend to be about as confidential as they can be, if not closed searches. And there's some wisdom in that. You want the input of the community, the campus community, students, faculty, and staff for what they want in leadership, what they need in leadership, what's been working, what's not working. But you got to protect candidates who, might not get a position but would be exposed in the process.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
we go back and forth at Creighton, in different searches we're running, if they should be open or closed, or maybe a hybrid of the two in some way.
Kind of depends on the position and probably the visibility of that and what else is out there. So let's move on to the university itself. What have you seen over the last 10 years in higher education and some of the initiatives at Creighton?
It's a great question. I'll tell you this, that even 10 years ago, if not a year or two before that, we're really in the headwinds of change for higher education in the United States, if not a full paradigm shift. A lot of that has to do with demographics of the United States, different moods and temperaments about the relevancy of higher education. You see that play out in political discourse in different ways. Price point sensitivity is as acute as it's ever been.
Yeah.
And so we're working against a lot of different challenges or obstacles that are converging all at once. Let me just speak a minute on the demographic issue.
Sure.
So we're right now at the cusp of a big change in 2026, where we see 15% fewer 18-year-olds in the nation, which is 18 years after the economic downturn of 2008.
Okay.
So if 18-year-olds is the main customer of higher education, which it is for traditional undergraduate education, and we're already all competing with each other to build a freshman class and to build an undergraduate cohort, that will become very much more difficult now in the next number of years with that sudden drop, a precipitous drop. We call it a demographic cliff.
You think that's, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but is that a function or of the fact that families are smaller? There's just less?
That's exactly right. So, with less resources or economic stress in families, smaller families are just waiting to build families until later times. So I mentioned this because this year we are starting our academic year. We're in our third week of coursework with the third largest freshman class in our history.
Wow.
For 10 years in a row, we've been surpassing 1,000 students each year to start with a freshman cohort. So Creighton continues to something of the success of the institution to defy those demographic shifts and headwinds. The key one's coming next year, so we'll see how it all shakes out. We've implemented some, I think, really interesting strategies to support students to get them to graduate on time. We're celebrating, as we start this year, a really incredible metric, actually. Retention rate is not insignificant to any of us. Who stays? You get them in the door.
Yeah.
That's hard work.
Yeah.
Then
you
who
have to
stays?
graduate them. Yeah.
Who stays? And from first year to second year, we are at 94% this year.
Wow.
The national average hovers around 80%.
Wow.
So you can see the difference there.
And they're in Omaha. They have
in Omaha, right.
Yeah. And I think we had chatted earlier about the percentage of out-of-state students that you have, which is somewhere around, I think it was 80% or
You're
somewhere
right.
in that vicinity. So
the national profile, I think, is really impressive in our recruitment efforts. We love our 20% Nebraskans. For this freshman class of almost 1130, 225 of them are from the state of Nebraska. They're smart, they're ambitious, they're dreaming about their careers and lives they can have. 80% for the past numerous years are coming from around the nation.
Okay.
One of the things we really celebrate in that 80% is half of them stay in Nebraska for a first job, for graduate school or professional school. That could be with us, by the way, or with other institutions in Nebraska. And I'll say this, too, that as we really work to recruit students from here or around the nation, we've leaned into giving our students a lot of hands-on experience, either in undergraduate research or in business internships. If I can, I just want to speak about the internships.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know the impressive companies, the Fortune 500 companies just surrounding the
metro
some
area.
of it right in the urban core, right where Creighton University is. We plug into Union Pacific. We go to Valmont. We go to Berkshire Hathaway Options. You just go down the list, and we've got students doing internships in those programs.
Wow.
Then they end up staying and working there or building a career there and then having a family. they stay here in Nebraska.
Yeah. And we had talked to, on a previous podcast, the economic development director for the state, Casey Balitz, and Heath Mello from the chamber. And, Forbes has ranked, and I've brought this up a couple of times, Forbes has ranked Omaha as the number one place to move to.
Rightfully so.
But an 18-year-old doesn't understand that. Now their family might understand that and say, hey, if you got a great opportunity at Creighton University, take advantage of it, move to Omaha, and then you can move back to Tulsa or wherever you want, wherever you're from. And then they get here and they realize how nice Omaha is and they stay.
I was able to spend some time this week actually down in Lincoln with the investiture of the new president of the University of Nebraska system. Congratulations to Dr. Jeff Gold. But the governor was there, and the governor likes saying repeatedly, what's the best quality of Nebraska? It's our people. That plays true on the campus of Creighton University. If we can get students and their families to come here and take a look, they choose Creighton because they're meeting the people of Creighton University and our institution. Makes a huge difference. And
it doesn't hurt that you have a fairly successful sports program there.
That's right.
Either.
The visibility has been terrific.
Yeah.
My predecessor, we were talking a minute ago about an important legacy of leadership. Father Lannon brought Creighton right before I got here. Actually, brought Creighton into the Big East Sporting Conference for NCAA. And that's been great for the
I think
university.
That was huge for Creighton to be able to play teams like Syracuse, my father's alma mater, and some of the other East Coast. And then we're out here in Nebraska. I thought that was
that's right.
Huge for Creighton.
Our donor base stepped up, helped us build up and expand our athletic facilities. The competition intensified with our not only our men's and women's basketball programs, which are priority sport for the Big East, but our Olympic sports as well. So, and we've been performing very well on the national stage with the Big East in women's basketball, men's basketball, volleyball. So we're excited about an upcoming season in those sports.
How hard is it going to keep those coaches around? That's that's a challenge too.
We work hard. Yeah, we work hard to
make
keep
sure
them
they
here
stick
and
it
keep
out.
them happy.
Yeah. And if I understand it correctly, you're going to have a practice facility, baseball practice facility now too, correct? That NCAA will be able to use for College World Series and
that's
practice.
Right. This has been, if I could just back up a little bit. Since I got here in 2015, we've built, I believe, 6 new facilities. In the process, we've torn down 22 facilities and dilapidated or underused or underutilized here in our urban core in our own footprint. As we look to the future, we could say, between 2015 and 2025, that Creighton has invested on our own, which is a lot of donor support, or with public-private partnerships, the government, different entities in the state or here in the city, $500 million in the urban core. I could list off some of those buildings if you're interested, but the next set of projects do include practice fields for baseball and softball. Okay. The state stepped up to help with an allocation through its budget a couple of years ago, so we're working through that. We still need some philanthropy to finish that project, so we'll be knocking on doors and asking for help.
Asking for help, yeah.
But that baseball field is really significant because it enhances our important relationship with the city of Omaha and the state of Nebraska as a host institution for the College World Series.
Yeah.
That's a huge economic boon for Omaha and for the state any given year. It's about $90 million in 2 weeks.
Wow.
And we just enjoy hosting institutions from around the nation coming in for the greatest game on dirt.
Greatest game on dirt, absolutely. Well,
so that baseball practice field will also include a neat, glassy, innovative bank of batting cages, which is something the College World Series is asking us to help implement. We'll be in partnership with the University of Nebraska Omaha as they step up and co-host in the future the College World Series programs. And then aside from that, in a year from now, we hope to open that new softball field, which the state is also helping, give us a head start on that.
So any chance of bringing football back? What was it? 1944 against Tulsa. I think that was the last Creighton football game.
We ended that season undefeated. So we'd like to say we're undefeated since then. No, we'll let Nebraska do the football thing.
Yeah.
We'll stay focused on basketball.
I think Sandy Budo, I was talking to Casey earlier. We were talking about Sandy Budo as a guest a few episodes ago, and his father played in that game.
Oh, gosh.
1944, last Creighton football game against Tulsa. So let's move back over to education again. So obviously there's been a lot of changes in education, probably some more now with AI and Chat GPT. How do you feel that is going to affect
Well, hugely
students?
so, and I think really in important ways, and actually some very positive ways. So we're looking right now. I just had my faculty staff town hall. We had about 500 people in attendance just a few days ago. It's a fun way to come together to talk about the beginning of the year, to have a reception, just to interact, talk about the summer. I announced that we've got a compelling strategic plan that's been very successful. It's in action. We put it together after I got here in 2015. I reconvened what I call a strategic implementation team, and in that outlined for this year some key goals that match that plan that the faculty helped us author a few years ago. Okay. But one of them is to look at issues with artificial intelligence, what we can do in AI. I actually think, in very important ways, it can help us with some back office functions, create some efficiencies. I think there's ways that we need to understand how it can enhance the experience for both students and faculty in research projects and teaching and learning. So we've been stepping the last 18 months, 12 months very decisively into that. We formed that as a new strategic initiative for the year.
Do you see any growth in any particular field of study? Is it more in health sciences now, more in law, more in liberal arts, or?
I do. So the part of the secret sauce of Creighton University from 100 years ago or more is investing in programs other than the arts and sciences or the liberal arts, which, by the way, are a point of focus and priority for me, is celebrating the necessity of the liberal arts and the humanities, the impact on students' lives. Right. Creighton is, I like to say we're top-heavy, or we're complex, or we're comprehensive across the health sciences, business, and law. That's partly why our enrollments have been so strong in the headwinds of demographic change. Health sciences in particular, we note that of about 1,100 students coming to Creighton each year to start as first-year students, in their undergraduate years, 60 or 65% will say that they want to be in health sciences. They don't always stay there. They don't get through organic chemistry or biology, but they're
physiology, all that,
or they're pre-dent, or they're nursing, or they're hoping to get into occupational therapy programs or physical therapy. We've got them all. We cover the whole range of health sciences programs. We just started a new physician assistant program as gangbusters. And by the way, we're doing the same programs here, clicking fully in all our enrollments. We're doing now in Phoenix, Arizona as well, with a new health sciences campus, a second medical school in a second state. That's been a fun way to bridge the great work we do here in Nebraska with the state of Arizona as well.
Yeah. A lot of things in common with Nebraska and Arizona for some reason, but that's
right.
That's interesting. One of the other, which I was involved in early on, not so much recently because of some changes in there, but the Business Ethics Alliance. I think some of our listeners would like to hear more about Creighton's involvement with the Alliance and the impact that's made in Omaha.
That has really been a real gift to the community, is to have Bev Crocker and others over the years bring business leaders, really important companies into the same conversation, just to talk about different issues about ethical practices, in corporations and the lives of people that impacts. We house that in and through the Heider College of Business.
Right.
The Heider College of Business has tripled enrollments in the last 12 years. It's also the first named college of the institution, which is a real point of celebration for us. So it's got some important resources and donor dollars to help the the innovation.
Keep the name up on the.
That's right.
Hide her name up there.
But that's been a really strong area for the university this past decade. And the dean of the college, no relation but same name, Hendrickson.
Yeah, I know Tony.
Tony has been incredibly innovative in programs. That's been part of his success, not only building out that range of internship programs for students in the business school, but being creative and adaptable to different kinds of learning modules and certificates and badges and programs for people to advance their business careers.
And Creighton has maintained, or if I understand correctly, you're going to continue to maintain your diversity and inclusion program, where another university in the state has decided to eliminate that program.
Yeah, we will stay committed. We're proud of being in a very inclusive environment. This year alone, in this new freshman class of about 1130, we recognize about 30% students of color diversity, which is a point of pride that's gone up in the last couple of years. It's also as demographics change, as some demographics, different groups of people have fewer members in their families. Right. Others do not. Others have bigger families, and so. We also, I like telling the faculty and staff that Creighton can and should be a place for access and equity for a prestigious education like Creighton University, which is, it's not inexpensive. We've got lots of scholarship options. It's been a point of focus in our very successful campaign is raising scholarship dollars. But we know students want to be on our campus and they need help making that happen.
Right.
And so we're looking for ways to do that.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier about some of the multicultural opportunities that are there, studies that aren't just in the Catholic or the Jesuit frame or education frame, but there's Judaism, Muslim.
Absolutely, and our programs in campus ministry alone, they'll step up to express who we are as Catholic and Jesuit, but then they also offer a wide array of interfaith programs and services. We also have a lot of students who just don't identify in a faith perspective, but they really find the values, the ideals of the Society of Jesus or the Jesuits very compelling, which is about, to simplify it, great self-awareness and thoughtfulness, discernment about our lives, and how any of us can make a difference in the world around us. We can be change agents. And that translates very well. This generation of young people is yearning for a sense of identity and understanding who they are and what they can do to make the world better. That's the way the Jesuits have been talking for 500 years.
Interesting. Interesting perspective to put it that way, because you look at a 17 or 18-year-old kid deciding where they're going to go to school, and that's not always an easy decision, especially if you're going out of state. But I think students now, at least my opinion, would be that they want to go someplace where they have opportunity for great education, great lifestyle, and things like that. And it's obvious that Creighton provides that for them if you're getting that many out-of-state students.
That's right.
Come here, yeah.
And again, the range of programs at the top level of the university. If you're a young person interested in being in medicine or in nursing or in dentistry or in banking, we've got these really strong pathways at Creighton University to negotiate our commitment to core curricular studies. So a very intentional program of philosophy and theology and language and literature, the natural sciences. You got to get through them. You got to study them, work through them, but you can find your way into a field of expertise and then stay on to get in master's or doctoral programs.
So any other, if you're going to, the next 5 years, say, assuming you're going to be here 5 or 10 more years, I hope so.
Hoping so, exactly, or maybe more.
What's on the agenda for Creighton? What are we looking at in terms of growth?
We're just unrolling. You mentioned two really important projects that actually help not only with the city of Omaha and the state of Nebraska with the new softball and baseball practice field. Softball, by the way, would also be a playing field or a competition field for Big East sports.
Okay.
We're looking for other kinds of ways to keep enhancing the urban core of Omaha. And one project that I'm very excited about is the possibility of a new central park, if you will, or an academic quadrangle that could come onto our campus. As we move the baseball and softball footprints to the east and north of campus, we suddenly have 5.5 acres open to us. So I don't want to fill it with buildings.
Yeah.
what I want to do is to see if we can create a campus green of some sort.
Yeah.
It'd be remarkable.
Maybe with an amphitheater or something, or you can have
Absolutely.
little concerts.
Program with concerts, do student orientation there, do graduation, rain or shine, like a lot of universities do. Another project that's already underway, in fact, is a new residence hall. We opened Graves Hall last year.
Right. That was for freshmen?
Freshman hall, first time in, maybe I shouldn't say this, but first time in 60 years we built a freshman residence hall facility. And so it was time to do that and to serve the needs of our freshmen and their families. But so this next hall will be a sophomore hall. We're looking for a name. So if anyone's out there want to put your name on a residence hall, it's ready and
How many
waiting.
zeros are included in that one?
A lot. It's a great project, though, and it really enhances the housing stock of the university. And we're committed, too, by the way, to first-year and second-year students living in our residence life system, getting programming, getting supervision. And they really thrive in that process.
Any other educational programs on the pipeline? Or
We have gained incredible traction just in the past 10 years, since 2015, since I've come here, gaining donor dollars to support our faculty. So we've had a 30% increase in faculty endowed chairs. This year alone, we're going to add another one to that impressive portfolio. It's actually going to be at our campus in Phoenix for pediatric nursing.
Okay.
So I continue to look for those options to retain the best of our faculty, give them those opportunities for endowed chairs, or to help recruit other faculty to keep stepping in, coming to Nebraska, being with us at Creighton University.
That's important, too. Also, we had Matt Ray on a few weeks or so ago, the superintendent of OPS. And that's one of the issues that I think the education system, at least in public schools, is going through, the lack of teachers out there. And so it sounds like if your faculty is invested, it's much easier for them to call a friend of theirs that might be at another school, Marquette or Columbia or somewhere, and say, hey, you want to move to Omaha? We got a great opportunity for you.
Come to Omaha. Come to Creighton. We've enjoyed, by the way, not only in the Jesuit network, but in the Big East, in the 10 other partner schools there, just important collaborations in research or sharing different ideas about academic programs and teaching models. So that's the Big East in particular. We're a great athletic conference, but we have a wider focus on other issues as well, which I don't think other conferences can say that. So hosting an undergraduate research symposium in Madison Square Garden during the Big East tournament, I think it's a big commitment, an important commitment.
Yeah, it's I don't know of anybody else that's doing anything along those lines. So, well, appreciate you coming on. Is there anything else did I leave anything out? Anything that you wanted to discuss?
I'll just tell you this: we as we opened this new academic year, we're excited about a lot of new initiatives. So we've got to focus on just areas and continue to support undergraduate enrollment efforts, but to continue to look at also the wide array of graduate and professional programs. This new dormitory we're building. Last year we opened 3 new buildings, one of which is the Werner Center for Health Sciences Education. We can track that 6,000 faculty, staff, and students come in and out of the front door of that building on a daily basis.
Wow.
So it's an incredible building without offices, but with laboratories, classrooms, learning spaces, simulation center. It's really the best innovation right now for health sciences education, and thanks to those who supported the process to build that.
I think that's what kids and I would think parents of kids that are looking for the whole experience, not just going to class. I went to a small university in New Jersey. We didn't have a lot of opportunity. We had a decent basketball team, but outside of that, there wasn't. There was the town of Rutherford, New Jersey, and there was not much there. I wouldn't move to Rutherford.
I'll tell you what. I look at dining services, dorm rooms, laboratories, libraries. It's all a lot different than when I was going to school. It's important to maintain the freshness and innovative reality of those services for our students.
So, if people are listening from outside of Omaha, obviously, if you live here, you're very familiar with the Creighton University. Where can they find information? Is obviously a website.
Yeah, certainly. We've actually, that's been an area of an improvement in the last few years too, is just both our intranet services for the campus community, but our the front door to the university through the internet. Okay. So that's been improved and strengthened in the last couple of years. So Creighton.edu.
Creighton.edu.
It's there waiting for everyone.
Well, Father, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. It's been great to talk to you and learn more about the university and some of the initiatives. And I certainly hope that you're here for several more years. And obviously, we didn't talk about this, but you come from a family of educators as well. You're not the only one in this business, correct?
That's right. I have an identical twin brother who works at Loyola University.
You ever switch
Chicago.
places, see if anybody recognizes?
You know, so it's tempting, isn't it? Yeah. He gets the complaints, I get the accolades. That's the agreement. I need you on campus tomorrow, Scott.
Oh, that's funny.
And then so he's associate provost for global programming at that institution. My older brother, by just 2 years, Ryan, is provost chief academic officer at Eastern Illinois University. Wow. So every now and then we're huddling on the phone call to do some problem solving with each other.
Parents must be extremely proud of you guys.
Again, most days.
Yeah.
No, they're great. They're out in Fremont, and they'll spend some time this winter, as they've been doing the last 20 years in California. But thanks for the opportunity to be with you and talk with you. We are headlong now, just stepping into a season of Big East basketball.
Exactly.
The conference games begin, so I'll just
keep
finish
your fingers
with 2
crossed
words.
and
Go Jays.
Go Jays. All right. Coach McDermott,
let's do it.
Let's do it. So thanks again, Father. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Good luck this year on everything that you're doing. So,
thank you.
Thanks. Thanks again for joining us today. Check out the show notes for more information on Creighton University, and don't forget to subscribe so you'll never miss an episode.